When Ganyu was released, we had officially received a cryo character who is a main DPS and applies cryo constantly, in her case through charged attacks. Essentially, Ganyu popularized and enabled the now popular freeze team setups, where you use cryo, hydro, and usually animo characters to freeze then pile enemies together in order to allow the main DPS to easily dish out massive damage to enemies all at once. Now, this team strategy was already well off with the basic concept, but it became significantly more powerful when players started tossing everyone's second favorite hydro sub DPS, Mona, into the mix. Mona's kit is actually on the more complicated side when compared to other characters, but the gist of why she propels freeze teams to new heights lies within the mechanics of her elemental burst. When you cast her burst, nearby enemies are tagged with a bubble and are afflicted with the omen debuff, causing them to take increased damage from all sources. When enemies take damage after her burst is cast, the bubble that was applied to them will pop, dealing hydro damage and starting a countdown on the omen debuff. After the countdown, the debuff ends. But interestingly enough, if you freeze an enemy afflicted with Mona's bubble, as long as they stay frozen, the bubble won't pop, meaning the omen debuff timer won't even start. This allows you to utilize the increased damage on enemies for much longer than usual, all so long as the enemy stays frozen, meaning only using cryo or animo damage on them. Now, how exactly does Ayaka come into play here, and what makes her as good as, or possibly even better than Ganyu when taking on the main DPS role in this team strategy? Ayaka is a cryo sword wielder, but I'm guessing you already knew that. And as far as I can tell, her best artifact set is the Blizzard Strayer set, which has a unique 4-piece passive that increases a character's crit rate by up to 40% if the enemy they're attacking is frozen. What this basically means is that you can focus on building Ayaka's crit damage into massive numbers and almost completely neglect her crit rate, and it won't even matter when using her in a freeze comp, because at the absolute least, she'll be hitting crit hits 40% of the time. With a second cryo character on your team, however, this crit rate buff is increased by another 15% because of cryo resonance, meaning all in all, Ayaka will be landing critical hits every other attack without her ever having to build into crit rate. Throw Mona into the mix with a level 6 elemental burst and all of this damage from Ayaka will be increased by 52% with almost zero downtime between Mona's bursts. It's safe to say that Ayaka, when placed in freeze teams and especially when paired with Mona, will be a powerful addition to the Genshin character roster. One that, unlike most other characters since her release, can compete with Ganyu, one of, if not the strongest DPS in the game. If you want to stay up to date on information regarding Genshin characters and upcoming Genshin content, feel free to subscribe and/or join my Discord server using the link in my description. The one under this video. What?